హాయ్ అండి, అందరికీ నమస్కారం. వెల్కమ్ బ్యాక్ టు ట్రైటీ టెక్నాలజీస్. మా ఛానల్ లైక్ చేయండి, సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేయండి, మీ ఫ్రెండ్స్ అండ్ ఫ్యామిలీస్తో షేర్ చేయండి. అండ్ డోంట్ ఫర్గెట్ టు కామెంట్ అబౌట్ యువర్ క్వైరీస్ అండ్ ఫీడ్బ్యాక్స్. మన టెలిగ్రామ్ ఛానల్లో జాయిన్ అయ్యండి. అక్కడ ఆల్రెడీ 600+ మెంబర్స్ జాయిన్ అయి ఉన్నారు. మీకు ఏ క్వైరీస్ ఉన్నా అక్కడ పోస్ట్ చేస్తే మీకు రిప్లై బ్యాక్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తాం. ఓకే, సో దట్ యూ విల్ గెట్ ఎవ్రీ మీకు ఏ ఇష్యూ వచ్చినా కానీ, మీకు టెక్నికల్ ఇష్యూస్ వచ్చినా కానీ అక్కడ పోస్ట్ చేస్తే మీకు రిప్లై చాలా ఫాస్ట్గా వస్తుంది. ఓకే, సో today we are going to do DevOps end to end. Okay, so DevOps end to end. So ఇది 2 parts లో రిలీజ్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నాం. ఒకటి part 1, ఒకటి part 2. సో ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే దిస్ ఈజ్ ఏ లైక్ ఓవర్వ్యూ లాగా ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, సో మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ DevOps మెథడ్ హౌ వి డూ ఫర్ డాకర్స్. ఓకే, సో కంటైనర్స్ని మనము ఎక్కువ ఇప్పుడు DevOps మెథడ్లో డిప్లాయ్ చేస్తున్నాం, లైక్ DevOps మెథడ్లో కంటైనర్స్ని డిప్లాయ్ చేస్తున్నాం కాబట్టి. So this is more of talking about Dockers, like deploying Dockers with DevOps end to end. Okay, so mostly ఇది దానిపైన కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ చేద్దాము. సో DevOps 2021 మనం ఏదైతే చేస్తున్నామో దట్ ఇస్ అ సపరేట్ థింగ్. ఓకే, సో అక్కడ మనం జెన్కిన్స్ చేస్తున్నాము. సో దాట్ విల్ బి కంటిన్యూడ్. ఓకే, సో అది ఇన్డెప్త్గా ఉంటుంది. సో దిస్ ఈస్ జస్ట్ లైక్ ఎవరైనా కానీ క్విక్గా DevOps అంటే ఏంటి తెలుసుకోవాలి, అసలు ఏమవుతుందని తెలుసుకోవడానికి ఇది మనం చేస్తున్నాం. ఓకే, సో యా, విల్ గో ఇన్ టు దిస్. Okay, so how this will be different from other DevOps videos. Okay, so ఇదేంటంటే అటెస్ట్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేద్దాం. ఓకే, సో మనం ఆల్రెడీ కంటైనర్స్ అంటే ఏంటో చూసినాము, అండ్ వీ హ్యావ్ సీన్ వాట్ ఈస్ Kubernetes, వీ నో వాట్ ఈస్ Ansible. ఓకే, అండ్ ఆల్సో ఓపెన్ షిఫ్ట్ అంటే ఏంటో కూడా లైక్ విల్ ట్రై టు కవర్ దిస్ ఇన్ ది ఫ్యూచర్. ఓకే, సో ఇవన్నీ కూడా కాంబినేషన్లో యూజ్ చేసి మనం DevOps మెథడ్స్ యూజ్ చేసి ఓకే హౌ వి డిప్లాయ్, హౌ వి క్రియేట్ పైప్ లైన్స్. ఓకే, అనేది ఓవర్వ్యూ. అంటే ఫస్ట్ నుంచి లైక్ వాట్ ఈస్ గిట్ అంటే ఏంటి, CI/CD మెథడ్స్ ఏమున్నాయి, ఓకే, జెన్కిన్స్ అంటే ఏంటి, ఓకే, సో హౌ యూ విల్ డిప్లాయ్ దిస్ కంటైనర్స్, ఎట్లా డిప్లాయ్ చేస్తాము, అండ్ KHలోకి ఎట్లా మూవ్ చేస్తాం అనే దాని గురించి కంప్లీట్గా చూడడానికి ట్రై చేద్దాం. ఓకే, సో ఇట్ స్ట్రెచ్ మీకు అంటే లైక్ విల్ డూ ఇట్ ఇన్ 2 parts అని చెప్పిన నేను. ఓకే, సో విల్ ట్రై టు డూ ఇట్ ఇన్ 2 parts సో దట్ యూ విల్ గెట్ ఎ క్లియర్ పిక్చర్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ ఈస్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ ఐఎమ్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్. ఓకే, సో జనరల్గా అయితే మీకు ఇన్డెప్త్గా కావాలనుకుంటే ఓకే, సో ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ సంథింగ్ టు బి వెరీ ఇన్డెప్త్, ఓకే, సో మీరు ఈ కోర్సెస్కి డైరెక్ట్గా మన పేజ్లోకి వెళ్ళి మన యూట్యూబ్లోకి వెళ్ళి ప్లేలిస్ట్లో చెక్ చేస్తే మీకు కనిపిస్తాయి. ఓకే, సో ఇన్డెప్త్గా కావాలనుకుంటే మీరు వెళ్ళి చెక్ చేయొచ్చు. ఓకే, ఆర్ఎల్స్ ఇట్స్ లైక్ ఎన్ ఓవర్వ్యూ, మీకు ఎలా ఉంటుంది అంటే లైక్ డీటెయిల్స్ ఎలా ఉంటాయి అని తెలుసుకోవడానికి అయితే మనము ఇట్లా ఈ వీడియో చూసి మీరు అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. ఓకే, సో వాట్ ఆర్ ద థింగ్స్ విల్ ట్రై టు కవర్. సో ఫస్ట్ వచ్చేసి విల్ ట్రై టు సీ వాట్ ఈస్ DevOps. ఓకే, సో DevOps అంటే ఏంటి అని అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి ట్రై చేసాము. సో లెట్ మీ గెట్ ఇస్. ఓకే, సో ఫస్ట్ DevOps అంటే ఏంటి, ఓకే, సో వాట్ ఈస్ DevOps అంటే, అండ్ ఆల్సో మైక్రో సర్వీసెస్ అంటే ఏంటి. ఓకే, దెన్ విల్ సీ వాట్ ఈస్ Git. ఓకే, యూజింగ్ హౌ విల్ యూజ్ Git. ఓకే, అండ్ ఆల్సో హౌ వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ CI/CD. ఓకే, కంటిన్యూస్ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్, కంటిన్యూస్ డెరివేట్లో చేస్తాము. అండ్ ఆల్సో విల్ సీ ఇంట్రొడక్షన్ టు జెన్కిన్స్. ఓకే, అండ్ ఆ తర్వాత విల్ సీ Ansible. ఓకే, సో Ansible అంటే ఏంటి, లైక్ విల్ సీ హౌ ఇట్ గోస్. అండ్ ఆల్సో విల్ యూస్ కంటైనర్స్ ఇన్ మైక్రో సర్వీసెస్. ఓకే, సో విల్ ట్రై టు కవర్ ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. ఓకే, సో ఇవన్నీ కూడా కవర్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేద్దాము. ఓకే, సో ఫస్ట్ ఈ part 1లో. ఓకే, సో part 1లో మేబీ విల్ కన్సిడర్ దిస్ యాజ్ అ సెషన్ 1. ఓకే, సో part 1లో సెషన్ 1 లాగా దీన్ని కన్సిడర్ చేద్దాము. ఓకే, సో వాట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ ఇస్ DevOps. ఓకే, సో ఫస్ట్ DevOps అంటే ఏంటి అనేది మనం తెలుసుకోవడానికి ట్రై చేద్దాం. ఓకే, సో అండ్ ఆల్సో ఐ ట్రై టు స్పీక్ మోర్ ఇన్ ఇంగ్లీష్ ఇన్ దిస్ వీడియో సో దట్ whoever are like people are asking me to do something in English because already few people joined in our group and also they have bought our Kubernetes production videos as well. Okay, so they are getting like they wanted to know more about real-time DevOps so that they have joined in our group. So they are asking me to speak more in English. Okay, so I'll try to speak more in English in this video, and also I'll if something is very tedious I'll go with Telugu. Okay, so అంటే మీకు ఈజీగా అర్థం అవ్వడానికి. ఓకే, సో విల్ సీ హౌ ఇట్ గోస్. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఇస్ ద ఫస్ట్ టైమ్ ఐఎమ్ ట్రయింగ్ దిస్ వే. ఓకే, సో విల్ సీ. ఓకే, సో like what is DevOps. Okay, so it's a method everyone knows. Okay, so even if you are new if you are very new to the DevOps, okay, so we'll see what is DevOps and what happens in DevOps, okay. So DevOps is nothing but we are talking about developers and operators work together, okay. So they work together on implementing a new software and updates to software in the most efficient way. So simply you can call like developers and operators, IT operations team, okay. So developers and operators who work together implementing a new software, okay. So most efficient way la manamu etla software ni client ki deliver chestam anadu, okay. So how quickly you deliver and how efficiently you deliver your software to the client, that is the main purpose, okay. So the main purpose of DevOps is to reduce the time between committing a change to a system and a change being placed in production, okay. So how quickly you are placing that software into the production, okay. So adi chala important, right. So whatever we are doing, ఏదైనా సరే మనం ఏది చేస్తున్నా కానీ ఫస్ట్ అల్టిమేట్ ఎజెండా ఇస్ టు డిప్లాయ్ ద థింగ్స్ ఆన్ ది ప్రొడక్షన్, ఓకే. సో ఏ అప్లికేషన్ మీరు డిప్లాయ్ చేస్తున్నారు అనేది కూడా చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అని చెప్పి నేను మీకు రెజ్యూమే ప్రిపరేషన్స్లో, ఓకే. సో ద మెయిన్ ఎజెండా ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ లైక్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ద చేంజెస్, ఓకే, బీయింగ్ ప్లేస్డ్ ఇన్ ద ప్రొడక్షన్, ఓకే. సో అండ్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ద చేంజెస్ యూ ఆర్ డూయింగ్ ఆన్ యువర్ సిస్టమ్. So nothing but the desired state versus the existing state, okay, or the current state. Current state ki desired state ki, okay, మధ్యలో జరిగేదే DevOps, okay. సో మనం ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ స్టేట్ ఇది ఉంది, మనం డిజైర్డ్ వేరే అనుకుంటున్నాం, ఓకే. సో వాట్ ఎవర్ ద చేంజెస్ వీఆర్ డూయింగ్, ఓకే, సో ఎవ్రీథింగ్ లైస్ హియర్, ఓకే. సో దీన్ని మనం కంటిన్యూస్ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ అండ్ continuous delivery antam, okay. So this is what we are calling it as, okay. So it is always revolves around these two, okay. So one more thing is DevOps is microservices oriented, okay. So everything we are calling, like most of the applications whatever we are deploying, okay, so we are breaking it as microservices. Why microservices? I have already explained what is microservice, okay. Again we'll go into the microservices definition later, but DevOps is a microservice oriented by nature, okay. And as multiple smaller projects are easier to manage, right. So if you have a very big project and if you are breaking that into the pieces, so it will be very easy to manage it in the smaller pieces, and it is easy to update, or it is easy to upgrade, it is easy to do the continuous integration, continuous delivery, okay. So when you are considering a monolithic project, so monolithic project is nothing but a big huge project, okay. So here we are making like we are doing that project into microservices, okay. So we are breaking that huge project into microservices and we are implementing that, okay. So that is the reason why we have said most of the DevOps projects are microservices oriented in nature, okay. And also in DevOps CI/CD pipelines are commonly implemented, okay. So when you are talking about DevOps, you are talking about CI/CD pipelines, okay. So using anything like from simple GitHub repositories, okay. So if you consider a GitHub repositories or a advanced CI/CD oriented software solutions, okay, like Jenkins or OpenShift, okay. So everything is implemented as a CI/CD pipelines, okay. So మీరు GitHub తీసుకున్నా సరే, and if you are going with the tools like Jenkins అయినా లేదంటే OpenShift అయినా, ఓకే, ఏదైనా కానీ CI/CDలోనే చేస్తాం, ఓకే. సో GitHub అంటే like when we are talking about GitOps, okay, so lot of things are moving around and going forward to the GitOps, and I have discussed a lot about GitOps, okay. So or else if you are going with the Jenkins CI/CD pipelines, or if you are going with the OpenShift CI/CD, okay. So OpenShift లో కూడా like in OpenShift there are CI/CDs, okay. So అది నేను ఎట్లయినా డెఫినెట్గా మాట్లాడతా, OpenShift గురించి నేను వీడియో చేద్దామని చూస్తున్నా ఆల్రెడీ. బికాస్ ఆఫ్ సిస్టమ్ ఇష్యూస్ వీ హ్యావ్ నాట్ డన్, ఐ హావ్ ఆల్రెడీ టోల్డ్ యూ దాట్, ఓకే. సో బట్ డెఫినెట్లీ విల్ ట్రై టు కవర్ హోల్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ ఈస్ OpenShift and how that creates this CI/CD thing, okay. So definitely we'll cover that one also, okay. So next thing comes is like in DevOps, everything like whatever the configuration we are doing, the configuration is we treat it as a code, okay. So it is nothing but configuration as code, okay. Let me scroll this, okay. Okay, now so next thing comes as configuration as code, right. So in the DevOps way of working, configuration as code is the కామన్ అప్రోచ్. ఓకే, సో కామన్ అప్రోచ్ ఏంటిది మనకి DevOps లో? Okay, configuration as code. Okay, so whatever the things we are deploying, so everything we do as a code, right? So that is the reason we are saying it as a configuration as a code. Okay, and also you can avoid all the complex commands like or like and you can use manifest files contain the desired configuration instead. Okay, so whatever the desired configuration you require, you can easily write that code instead of writing a complex kind of code. For example, if you are talking about the monolithic application, so there will be a lot of complexity in the commands, like there's a lot of stuff, like you will be writing 10,000 lines of code, thousands of lines of code. Okay, but when you are thinking about, or when you are using the manifest files, okay, containing the desired configurations, okay, so that is very easy when you compare with this huge complex commands. Okay, so that is the reason why configuration as a code is very, very important. And the major language we use is for manifesting the files, YAML. Okay, so YAML is the one which is a common language to create these manifest files. Okay, and also YAML is used in different DevOps based solutions, like we are using this in Kubernetes, we are using this in Dockers. Okay, we are using it in Ansible, we are using it in OpenShift. Okay, so YAML is the one when you are talking about DevOps. Okay, the implementation part or the production deployment part, when we are considering these tools like Kubernetes or Ansible majorly, right? So you should know and you should be aware of what is this YAML files. Okay, so that is very, very important. Okay, and also we'll also see what are all the okay, let me scroll down again. Okay, so we also see what are the DevOps cycle. Okay, so what is a DevOps cycle and what are the tools it requires. Okay, so generally when we are talking about DevOps, so what we talk about things like coding, building, right, testing and packaging, releasing, and we talk about configuration, like configuring and monitoring, right? These are the things we do in a DevOps cycle, right? Coding, building, testing, packaging, releasing, configuring and monitoring. Okay, so you can say like this is the framework we are using for this course as well. Okay, so whatever the course we are doing right now, okay, whatever the details we are talking right now, okay, so we talk about coding, building, testing, packaging, releasing, configuring and monitoring. Okay, so what exactly coding, right? So nothing but the source code. Okay, so whatever the code, okay, we are writing, so where we are going to host this, or what are all the tools used to manage this source code, that is Git, right? So then comes the building. So building is nothing but like you need to do the continuous integration, right? So you need continuous integration tools. Okay, so what are the major things in the market when you are talking about continuous integration tools? Jenkins and OpenShift. Okay, so OpenShift also one of the continuous integration tools. Okay, so when you are talking about testing, you are talking about continuous testing tools. So continuous testing tools, you can also use Jenkins. Here you can also use OpenShift. You can also use SonarQube. Okay, so there are a lot of things, but we'll go with Jenkins and OpenShift. Okay, and packaging. So packaging is nothing but, so what are all the things you package? Okay, so as an application you need a packaging tools, right? So or else you can call it as application packaging tools. Here you can use Jenkins and also you can use Docker files and you can use Docker Compose. Okay, then it comes with the releasing. So releasing nothing but like you need to do a release automation. So in release automation, definitely you are going with the Dockers or Kubernetes and OpenShift. Okay, so any one of these. Okay, so when you're talking about configuration, okay, so definitely you need some configuration tools, that is Ansible or K8s. Okay, And we are coming about, when you are talking about monitoring, again there are lot of monitoring like application monitorings you can do with K8s, okay, and on K8s you can use Prometheus and Grafana, okay. So these are all the major tools we are going to cover here, okay. So we'll talk about Git, we'll talk about Jenkins, we'll talk about Dockers, we'll talk about Ansible, then we'll talk about Kubernetes, we'll talk about OpenShift as well, okay. So these are all the things we'll try to cover in this end-to-end video, okay. So this is the major definition of the DevOps and sorry, and tools we use, and what is the configuration as a code, okay. So hope you guys have got a clear picture of this, okay. So at least if you are fresher who is starting up, or if you are a starter who is starting up this, okay. So next comes the microservices, okay. So what are the microservices? You need to know what is microservice, right? So understanding the microservices is very important, okay. So microservices is like a collection of loosely coupled services, okay. So why you are saying like loosely coupled services? Loosely coupled services are nothing but each of these services can be deployed independently, okay. So these are not dependent on each other, okay. So everything or every service or every application you are talking, okay, so everything is loosely coupled, okay. And also you are deploying it independently. If something goes wrong on one box, okay, or one service, okay, so whole application is not going down. All the other services which are running will be well and good, but the only service which is went down, you will be picking that service and you will be working on that particular service, okay. So you'll be working on that particular service, okay. So this is what the microservices all about, okay. And also every independently deployed service is developed and managed independently. That is the major important thing in the microservices, okay. Everything is independently developed and maintained, right? So everything is maintained and developed independently. And also microservice components are typically deployed as containers, right? So major of the microservices when we are talking, okay. So people say that what is a microservice? Microservice is nothing but a container, okay. So that is not an exactly definition, but you can say that, okay. Whatever the microservices we are deploying that typically we are deploying it as a container, okay. And also these microservices are the replacement of your monolithic applications, okay. So monolithic applications is nothing but a huge applications, okay. So we are breaking that into the microservices or independent loosely coupled services, and we are managing and we are developing, or we are maintaining it as a independent application, okay. So that is the reason why microservices are very popular right now, and microservices mostly like deployed as a container, okay. So when we are broken down in pieces, application are easier to maintain, right? So that is the major benefit in the microservices. And also smaller applications, like when you are considering a huge monolithic application, okay, so understanding that application is very tough, okay. But when you are breaking or when you are making that into the smaller pieces, it is easier to understand, okay. And also developers who are working on these applications, they can work independently, okay. So on every applications they can work on independently, okay. When you are working on a single big monolithic applications, all the developers will be focusing on one code and there will be lot of confusion, okay. But when you are breaking that into the microservices, it is easier for the developer to work and to concentrate on that single application, and he can work on that application independently, okay. And also one more major thing is microservices as a smaller components are easy to scale, okay. So when you want to scale something on the microservice, it is very easy, okay. When you are considering a huge monolithic application, when you consider the microservices, it is very much easier to scale. Okay, and also one failing component, like I said, it's not doesn't necessary to bring down the entire application. Okay, so it is always an independent service. If something went wrong, you can go and you can fix that service, but your whole application is not going down. That is one more huge benefit with the microservices. Okay, so this is all about the microservice. We have talked about DevOps and we have talked about the microservice. Okay, so now we'll try to cover this first one. Okay, so coding part. Okay, so coding part is nothing but the Git, right, or JIT. Okay, so whatever you wanted to call, you can call. Okay, it's not mandatory that you should call it as JIT or Git. Okay, so we are calling it as Git right now. Okay, so I may also call it as JIT because I work with few of the clients who are in Sweden, who are in US, who like some of them call it as JIT. Okay, so that is fine. If you are calling it as a Git or a JIT, that is fine. No one is going to put you in jail if you are saying it as a JIT. Okay, so I'll go with Git or JIT. So just don't get confused with that. Okay, so we'll talk more about this. Okay, so we'll try to cover at least basics of what Git is, or what it does and all. Okay, so if you want to go and if you want to know in depth, you can go into our channel. Okay, and also you can check Git playlist so that you will see everything. Like, okay, so let me go back. Okay, yeah. Okay, so most of you know what is Git, right? So Git is control, like version control system, but how it is important using Git in a microservices environment, like whatever we talked right now, like DevOps, or if you are talking about microservices, Kubernetes. Okay, so Jenkins, whatever it is. Okay, so when we are talking about using Git in a microservices environment. Okay, so mostly Git is used as a version control and cooperation between different developers and teams, right? So that is the major reason why we are using it. So it is used as a version control system, and also it is the major tool which gives a lot of developers and teams to work or collaborate with for the project or with the project. Okay, and also using Git makes easy to manage many changes in an effective way. What, like if you have done major changes or many changes, so sorry, so Git is always comes into the picture. Okay, so it will give you lot of good things, like it will give you a lot of scope to work with this effectively on the major projects or major changes we do on the projects. Okay, and also different projects in a microservices can have its own Git repository. Okay, so every service, like if I want to run different projects, for example, I am running 3 projects, and also I can have 3 repositories separately. Okay, so it is not that you as a like if you have a single code like a monolithic application. Okay, so you are putting everything in one repository and you're working on that. Okay, so I'm making that into pieces. I'm doing that, like I'm considering as microservice 1, microservice 2, microservice 3. I'm breaking that into 3 services, and I can have my own repo for individual microservice. Okay, so that is the major thing that this, like Git helps. As I said, every service is maintained and developed individually. When you are rather considering it as a whole big application, what we are doing, we are maintaining and we are managing, we are developing it individually. So you will have a different projects in a their own different repositories. Okay, so that is a major reason Git and microservices are perfect match. Okay, so we can say Git and microservices are a perfect match, as the definition of microservices is easily being implemented using Git. I can say that. Okay, so that is the major definition, or that is the main definition of the Git. Okay, so mainly Git also offers a web service that is nothing but your GitHub. Okay, so whatever the GitHub you are using. Okay, so it is also used as a web service, and also we have another Git source, that is GitLab. Okay, so GitLab and GitHub are the major commonly used version control systems in the market right now. Okay, and also you can use private Git repositories if you are going for the primary version or the paid version of the Git. You can also have private Git repositories. Okay, so private Git repositories is like most of the organizations will use. Okay, so they will have their own organization repository which is hosted on the GitHub. Okay, so you can get your permission on that and you can easily work on that. Okay, so like I said, Git is a version control that makes collaboration easy and effective. That is a major definition. If someone asks you what is a Git, okay, so you can go with this definition. And also Git works with a repository which can contain different development branches. Okay, so we'll talk more about branches, what is a branch and how we are doing these branches and all. But you should know, like if you are having one project, okay, so if something you don't want to do changes on this main branch, okay, so or we can call it as a master branch. Okay, so you want to do some changes and you can create an alternative branch for that, then you can commit that branch to your master branch. Okay, so those are the things we can do with the Git. And if you want to know in depth of these things, like I said, go to Git playlist in our YouTube. You will get a clear picture of things. But you can know that Git works with a repository and which can have or which can contain different development branches. And also developers and users can easily upload. Okay, so whatever the code is there, okay, so they can easily push the code, and also they can easily download the new files, okay, to and from the Git repository. So that is the major advantage when you are using GitHub and Git. Okay, so Git is nothing but your local repo. GitHub is nothing but the repo which is on the web service. Okay, so which is accessed as a web service. Whatever the changes you have done on the Get local repo, you can push that to the GitHub, and also you can download whatever the files, okay, or on the GitLab onto your local machine. Okay, so that is the one thing which is you can do with the Git. Okay, so definitely you need to have your Git to be installed on your machines. Okay, so most of the times, like these Git clients are available on all the operating systems. Okay, so but when you wanted to connect to the your GitHub service, so or GitLab services, you can configure your email address and password so that you can go and connect to this GitHub or GitLab services. Okay, so that will definitely look into it when we are logging into our machines. Okay, so when you want to communicate with the GitHub, so you definitely need a Git client installed on your machine, right? So whenever you go into your machine, if you say Git -version, it will show the version of the current Git client. Okay, and also individual developers, like whoever are developing their microservices, they will have their own local copy, okay, in the Git repository. Okay, so if they want to upload that or if they want to download from the repository which is on the GitHub, so they definitely need this Git client, okay, so that they can talk to this GitHub. Okay, so which is hosted, like which is a web service, or you can say it is on the internet. Okay, so if you have a local copy of the Git repository and if you want to push or if you want to pull the code from the GitHub, you definitely need to have your Git client installed on your machines. Okay, and also most of the when you are doing an initialization, so the Git client will be on .git folder. Okay, so I've talked more about this on Git internals. Okay, so if you go and watch Git internals, our video which is in the DevOps 2021 playlist. Okay, so you can go and you can see what all the Git internals, and I've talked more about on Git internals as well. Okay, so simply I'll give you the Git internals or Git workflow. Okay, so we'll be having a working directory. Okay, so the one which will be on our local machine, or where your actual files are stored, that is your working directory. Then there will be a staging area. So whenever we do add files, okay, in the Git, or whenever we modify any files on your working directory, okay, that will go into the, like, it will be you whenever you add these files, okay, so when you say git add, that will go into the staging area, okay. So and also you will have head, okay. So head is nothing but it points to the last commit that was made, okay. So whatever the commit we do, okay, so this head will be pointing to that, okay. So I'll show you a simple example. Okay, so if I say git hyphen hyphen version, okay, git hyphen hyphen version, okay, so this is my git, okay. So if you want to install the git, you can go to the git page and you can install, or else you can check in our playlist how to install the git, okay. So that is a easy version of doing. So this is what I installed in my machine right now, okay. So and if I create any directory, for example, if I say mkdir, I'll say, okay, so I already have one folder, or I'll create one, okay, mkdir git, or I'll say DevOps end to end. Okay, so I'll go to DevOps end to end, okay. So and if I say git init, okay, so I'm just initializing my folder, okay. So if I say ls-lrt, nothing is there, but if I say ls-lrta, so these are the hidden files, okay, so hidden folder. So when if it is there, okay, so nothing but your git is initialized, okay. So this folder is git initialized, and I have talked a lot about this git internals, okay. So you can go and check what are all the things, and what is the scope of these files or folders which are there in this, okay. So you can go and check git internals video which I have already posted, okay. So if you have any queries on that, you can, like, if you are not like if you are if you wanted that to be in English, so I've done that mixed version, so you can post any queries in the Telegram if you have not understood, or else you can go to the git internals page, that is the official page of git, so that you will know what are the things in git, okay. So for example, if I create any file such as I'll say test.sh, okay. So if I say git, sorry, if I check here, okay, if I say ls-lrt, okay, so here you can see, okay, so I have created one file, okay. If I say git status, okay, so if you see here, no commits yet, but there is a untracked file, okay. So there is something which is not tracked, okay. So if I say git add test.sh, and if I say git status, now it goes to, okay, use git rm to make it unstaged, okay, but right now it is in the staged position, like, sorry, it is in the staged way, okay. So now the file is staged, so whatever it is there in the working directory, we've moved that into the staged, okay. If I say git commit, okay, and if I say -m commit this test file, okay. So if you see here, after doing this, okay, that is fine, one file changed, and create mode test.sh. if I say git status, okay, so on branch master, nothing to commit, working tree is clean, it is saying, okay. So and also if you want to add this, okay, so if you want to add this to the GitHub, okay, so you can say git push origin master, but I'm not sure if it's already been logged in, okay. So it does not appear to be get repository, could not read from repository, please make sure you have correct access rights and the repository exists, okay. So I have not yet logged in, okay. So or else if I say git add origin https, okay, so no, I'll do that later, but yeah, okay. So this is the one, this is the thing, you can do it locally, okay. So if you say git status, it says working tree is clear, right. So git status, Okay, so for working tree is clean. Okay, so there are nothing to be committed. Okay, so we have already committed. Okay, so right now if you want to create a create your GitHub server. Okay, so if you want to connect to your GitHub repository. Okay, so then you can set your parameters, like if I say git config hyphen hyphen global, and I'll say username as sorry, user dot name, and I'll give Tritree Technologies. Okay, and if I say enter git config, okay, so and also I'll say git config hyphen hyphen global, and I'll say user dot email. Okay, I'll say tritreetech@gmail.com. Okay, so now I have created my user and password. Okay, so if I say git remote, or if I say status, sorry, status. Okay, so nothing is there to commit. Okay, so we'll try to do git remote add origin https github.com/Tritree Technologies. Okay, okay, so we'll say git push hyphen u origin master. Okay, repository not found. Let me check my repository name. Okay, so this is not there, so let me remove this. Okay, so if you want to remove, say git remote rm, and I'll say origin. Okay, so I've just removed it. Then again I'll add git remote add origin, or I'll copy this. Okay, so I'll enter. Okay, so now we'll try to push. Okay, so yes, permission denied, could not read from repository. Please make sure that you have correct access rights and the repository exists. Okay, so repository exists, but the problem is I have not copied my keys. Okay, so let me copy those keys. Okay, or we'll try to do with HTTPS. Okay, so remote origin already exists, that right? Oh, let me remove and let me add again. Okay, so now it's just added. So if I say git push hyphen u origin main. Okay, so fail to push main does not match in. Okay, okay, so now if I say, okay, so before that I didn't had any branch, so now it is asking for the username. So I'll say tritreetech@gmail.com. Okay, I've entered my password. Okay, so now it is done. Okay, so successfully I have uploaded, or I have pushed my git local repo to the Tritree Technologies GitHub repo. Okay, so that is done. Okay, so initially it asked for the keys. Okay, so but I have not added those SSH keys. That is the reason why I got the error. So then I went into for the HTTPS. Okay, so whenever you are using HTTPS, it will always ask you for the password and username. So if you don't want this to happen every time for every push, you can add your keys. Okay, so you can add your GitHub keys into your local machine, so that every time it will authenticate automatically. Okay, so if you want to know about that, you can go to our Git playlist and you will know more about that. Okay, so this is a basic thing how we push our code from local to the GitHub. Okay, and also if you want to get some others repository, you can say git clone. Okay, so this is one of the command, so where you can clone all the contents of the remote repository to your computer. And if you want to update your local repository to the last commit, okay, so then you can say git pull. Okay, so if you say git pull, okay, so it will update the local repository to the last commit. Okay, so it is already been up to date. Okay, so if you see here, already up to date. Okay, so if you want to push, obviously if you say git push, okay, so it will push your local to the GitHub. Okay, obviously if you need to do your git add, then you need to do git commit before doing this. Okay, so that is a simple thing that I wanted to show on the git side. Okay, so if you want to know in depth about the branches and all, we'll do an overview. But if you want to in depth of the knowledge of this every resource, you can go to the git playlist or DevOps 2021 list. Okay, so playlist in our channel. Okay, so and also you can remove the files, okay, in git repo using rm, okay, or git rm. You can remove those files. And also when you want me to talk about branches, okay, so branches are nothing but the, like, it is used to develop new feature. Okay, so for example if I'm working on one branch, okay, so or working on a master branch, okay, so I want to add a new feature for that. Okay, so for example, if you are working on any UI page and you want to add a new content to that page, for example, it is altogether a new feature you want to add into that page, so you will develop and you will maintain it as a different branch. Okay, instead of doing that on the main code, okay, so what you will do, you will create a feature branch. Okay, so you create a feature branch and you will develop everything. Okay, so after that you will add that to your master branch. Okay, so that is the reason why it's always important you to know what is the feature branches and how you isolate from the main branch. Okay, so it is totally isolated with the main branch and you are developing it as a different code. Okay, after that you will merge it, that is a different case. Okay, and also whenever you are talking about your default branch, okay, so default branch is nothing but always your master branch, and all the other branches which are there, like feature branches, you can add them into this main branch to merge them, or you can call it as main, like you can merge the branches, or you can have 3 to 4 feature branches, like 3 to 4 developers working on different features. At the end you want to add everything into the main branch, that is nothing but you want to merge everything. Okay, so you'll have merge conflicts, you'll have merge methods. Okay, so to know all this stuff you can go to git playlist, as I said. Okay, so after everything, like again what happens, all the merges, again it comes to the master branch. Okay, so the main agenda is to move everything to the master branch. Okay, so if you say git checkout, for example, if I say git checkout -b, if I'm working on a development branch, I'll say dev branch. Okay, so what it will do, it will create a new branch. Okay, and you can start using it. And if you want to push this, okay, so you can say git push origin. What is the origin? Dev branch. Okay, so this will do, like, this will push the new branch to the remote repository. Okay, so whatever the remote repository we have created, that will go and create a, or that will push the new branch to the remote repository. And also if I say git checkout master, okay, so if I say git checkout master, then what happens, it will switch back to your master. And again you can say use like git merge dev branch. Okay, So if you say git merge dev-branch, it will merge the dev branch back to the master. Okay, so if you want to delete this branch, you can say git branch hyphen d. Okay, so git branch hyphen d and the branch name. Okay, so what it will do, it will delete that branch. Okay, so simply, okay, so if you want to create something, you can say checkout hyphen b, and if you want to switch back to the master, you can say git checkout master. Or if you want to push your new branch to the remote repository, you can say git push origin to the new branch name. Or if you want to delete that branch, you can say git branch hyphen d and the branch name, so that it will remove that. Okay, so it is always important to go and create your github.com, like your github credit, like user or github account, I would say. Okay, so go and create your github account on github.com and use this repository, or you can create a new git repository from this website, and you can use a Linux client, create your local directory with the name of the git repository, and you can run these commands like git init, git add, git status, git commit, git remote add, git push. Okay, so these are all the things you can do. Okay, so if you want me to give a quick overview of this git, what we have done. Okay, so nothing but you can go to github.com, okay, and create your account there and create a repository. Okay, so create a repository, and that will be working as your website. Then install your Linux client or whatever the box you are using, whatever the operating system you are using. Okay, so here if you go and check git hyphen version, it will show you a git version, git client version, which is on your local. Okay, so after that you can do the changes like git init and git add, git status to check the status, git commit hyphen m with the comments to commit, and git remote add origin and your website, whatever you have created, https://github.com/Trity Technologies is my name and my repo, or else your name, your repo. Okay, and git push, right, git push hyphen u origin master, so that it will go and sit in this master branch. Okay, or else you can go and say check out for your new branches. Okay, so this is a quick overview, like what exactly the git does and what exactly the git is. Okay, so I'll just pause here, so you can also go and grab your coffee or tea, then come back. Okay, so it's almost like a stretch of 40 minutes, so that just take a break for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then come back and watch this video. Okay, welcome back guys. So hope you have a very good break. Okay, so we'll go with the CI/CD. Okay, so till now we have covered what is DevOps, we have seen what is microservices, and we have seen what is Git and how to use the Git. Okay, so now we'll see what is CI/CD. We'll just say the basics of CI/CD and we'll understand what is CI/CD. Okay, so if you see what is CI/CD, that is continuous integration and continuous delivery or continuous deployment. Okay, so CI/CD is the one which is a core DevOps element. Okay, so which is enforces you to do the automation, to build or to test or to deploy your applications. So that is the major thing of CI/CD. Okay, so whenever you want to do a continuous integration or continuous delivery or continuous deployment, okay, so everything is relied on method called DevOps. Okay, so when you are talking about DevOps is equivalent to CI/CD, and when you are talking about CI/CD, it's equivalent to DevOps. Okay, so that is how these two can be defined, and CI/CD pipelines are the backbone of the modern DevOps operation. So whenever you are talking about DevOps, so CI/CD is the backbone, and without CI/CD, there's no method called DevOps. Okay, so it is always important you to know what is continuous integration and continuous delivery or continuous deployment. And the continuous integration is nothing but like all developers who are till now we talked about Git, right? So they will merge code changes into a central repository. Okay, so there will be a central repository. So all the developers, okay, so who are doing the changes, they will be merging their code into the central repository. Okay, so this is nothing but a continuous integration. Every time there if something changes, okay, so every time like every time in the sense every day, okay, if you say like every day there will be lot of changes, multiple changes happening onto this repository. All the developers who are there, they'll be merging their code changes into this central repository. Okay, so that is nothing but your continuous integration. So continuous delivery or continuous deployment is nothing but which automates the software release process based on these frequent changes. Okay, so there will be lot of frequent changes happening. Okay, so how this can be automated, and how this how this CD automates the software release process. Okay, so that is nothing but the continuous delivery. And also it includes automating infrastructure provisioning and deployment. Okay, so when you're talking about infrastructure provisioning and deployment, okay, so that should be like automated. Everything should be automated, like, okay. So but when you are talking about continuous delivery and deployment, so these are all the considerations we do. Okay, so these are all the considerations we take. Okay, so when you are talking about CI/CD, you should understand what exactly it is, right? So like I said, CI/CD is the one and is the pipeline which automates the software delivery process. So whatever the software delivery we are doing for the clients, okay, so everything is automated using this CI/CD pipelines, and it builds code. Okay, and what exactly we are will doing, we'll be building the code and we are running the tests. Okay, as a continuous integration, and we'll be deploying the new version of the application with the continuous delivery. Okay, so it is always a continuous process when you are doing a continuous test, and you are doing a continuous deployment on that. Okay, and also the major thing is when you are talking about the pipelines are automated so that errors can be reduced. Okay, so what are the errors are popping up, there will be a lot of reduction in the errors. And also these pipelines are specifications, like for the steps that developer needs to perform to deliver a new version or to deliver a new software product. Okay, so it always helps like these pipelines are always the specifications, like runnable specifications of the steps which is required for the developers. And also these CI/CD pipelines can be used as procedure that describes how to get from code to running software, right? So whatever the code we are deploying, okay, so we are making that to run on the production. Okay, so that is the major thing these CI/CD pipelines are doing. Okay, and also the major tools we use is again Jenkins or OpenShift. Okay, so OpenShift is also one thing which is majorly used to write these CI/CD pipelines. Okay, so always you need to remember that CI/CD pipelines are automated using Jenkins, OpenShift. Okay, so there are a lot of products, but Jenkins and OpenShift are the one which is leading the market right now. Okay, when I'm talking about OpenShift, you might have like, if you guys don't know what is OpenShift and I'm talking about OpenShift, okay, why we are calling it as a CI/CD pipeline. Okay, so in OpenShift you can write CI/CD pipelines. Okay, so that is the reason why I'm stressing more about on it's like I'm stressing more on OpenShift here. Okay, so that you guys can go and search what exactly this OpenShift is doing on the CI/CD thing, right? So that is a major thing, and that is the reason why I'm talking more about this CI/CD thing. Okay, so next we'll see. Okay, let me move my screen. Okay, okay. Okay, so we need to understand the stages of software release, right? So you need to know what are all the stages will be there for the software release, right? So first we talked about like from source to git. So how you'll do this, we'll be using with git push. Okay, so from source to git, this is the this is the starting step, like whatever the code we are writing, so that will be going and sitting on any one of the version control systems. Okay, then from git to running code, right? So you need to run your code. It might be a docker build or it might be a make, right? Then comes the testing. Okay, it might be a smoke test, it might be a unit test, it might be an integration test, and then comes the deployment, right? That is the staging, or it might be a QA, it might be production. Okay, so you need to remember these stages, like how this code or how the things move in your DevOps. Okay, so or for any software release. Okay, so when you're talking about this software release, so how you will deliver this, what are the steps you go, or what are the stages we go through. Okay, so most of the time this is the source code you will have. You'll build that source code using any build tools, or if you are talking about the cloud native applications, then that will be a Docker build or make. Then you are talking about testing, then you are talking about the deployment. Okay, so these are all the four very important stages whenever you want to deliver your code. Okay, so or your software. Okay, sorry, not code, when you are delivering your software. Okay, so here we'll see what is exactly the source stage. Okay, so we'll talk more about the source stage. Okay, source stage is always nothing but like whenever whatever the code you are writing. Okay, so you always end up on a repository. Okay, so whatever the repo you are using, it might be an SVN, it might be Git, GitHub, GitLabs, or it might be a code commit, it might be Bitbucket, whatever it is. Okay, so source always, like whatever the code, it always ends up on the repository, and these developers needs to use this they need to use this good git push. Okay, so whatever the things they are writing, okay, on their local. Okay, so they definitely use this command called git push or something to get their software into the repository. Okay, so when we are talking about git here, the I'm saying about git push. Okay, so if you are using a different resource, okay, it might be any resource, like it might be any source control. So if you are talking about that, so the major thing, like you need to, like developer need to do something to get that onto that software repository. Okay, so the software, okay, whatever the software they are developing, that should be on the repository. Okay, and also whenever it is on the repository, the pipeline will be triggered. Okay, so from that source code repository. Okay, so from here what happens, it will trigger. Okay, then it will go forward. Okay, it might be any build stage, or it might be anything like the next stage which we are talking about, that is running code. Okay, so next, that is a build stage. Okay, so when we talk about build stage, okay, so this is the second stage. Okay, so build stage is nothing but like whatever the source code, so that should be converted into a runnable instance, right? So that is a major thing that we need to do on the build phase. So what, okay, so this runnable instance, and I put like, sorry, the source code is converted into the runnable instance, and this source code can be written in any language. It might be a C, it might be Go, it might be Java. Okay, so everything need to be compiled, right? So we need to compile this, and then we need to build the code, right? So if it is a cloud native application or cloud native software, so you will deploy that on the container images, right? So if it is a cloud native software, definitely we'll be deploying by using container images. And if you are seeing any failures to pass this build, okay, so when you are seeing any failures on the build, so definitely nothing but you have a fundamental problem in the code, like you might have written a wrong code, or if something went wrong on the code, or a generic CI/CD configuration. Okay, so whatever the CI/CD configuration we are doing, it might also, like there might also be some issues on the CI/CD configuration. So definitely we can check over in the build stage. Next comes the testing stage. So here we'll be automating testing, or we'll validating code correctness and product behavior, whatever the behavior of the product. So we'll be validating the code, and also we'll be testing, like we'll be doing an automating testings, like whatever the code which is written by the developers, or the developers or the guys who will be writing this automated tests. Okay, it might be a smoke test which will do a quick sanity checks, or it might be end-to-end test which should test the entire system from the user point of view. Okay, so it should if you are talking about a website, it should check entire end-to-end, like what is this button doing, what is this box will be doing, or what if I type something, how many characters it should take. Everything should be tested there. Okay, and also for doing this there will be some test suits. Okay, so there are a lot of tools which already have these test suits, and you can incorporate them and you can do all these testings. Okay, so if you are seeing any failures in this stage, okay, so nothing but you can say that you will be exposing those problems that are developers didn't see, or they didn't interpret when they are writing their code. Okay, so in this stage you can say, or you can see that whenever it is failing, okay, so definitely you can say that something went out of the scope of the developer. Okay, so because they do a lot of tests, then only it will come to this stage. And if you see any failures here, so the developer might not have foreseen this. Okay, so you have seen these issues, so that you can revert back to the developer and you can say something went wrong, and you can deploy, or you can do the changes, then you can do the test again. Okay, so then comes the deployment stage. Okay, so in deployment, like the first, like whatever the software or whatever the code we are talking about, okay, so that will be deployed on the staging area. Okay, so first we'll be doing it on the staging environment. Definitely we are not going to put that on the production directly. Okay, after the code gets passed or software gets passed, okay, for this staging environment successfully, then it can be pushed to the production environment for the usage, or any end user can connect to that production box and they can use that code or software. Okay, so definitely it should go through the staging or QA or production. Okay, so here again the deployment should be a continuous process, where different parts of the microservice are deployed individually and can automatically be approved and committed to the master branch for production. Okay, so that is a very important thing. So whatever this happening, it should be a continuous process on the deployment stage. Okay, so what is exactly, like, why we are using, what is the benefit out of this pipelines, right? So we have talked a lot of stuff right now, like we have talked around 20 minutes right now about CI/CD, but what exactly the benefits of using these pipelines? Okay, so the major important thing is developers who are writing can focus on only writing code and monitoring behavior of that code on production. And also product updates are very easy. Okay, so when you want to do a product update, it's very easy because you are making, or you are talking about the microservices. Okay, and also when you want to roll back, if something went wrong and if you want to roll back, so rolling back to the previous versions is also very easy, and you'll get the feedbacks very fast. Okay, so whatever the issues or you're seeing, or whatever the things you're seeing on that particular microservice, the feedback, whenever you are getting a continuous feedback, it is always important you should have a continuous feedback on your product. Okay, so if you have a continuous feedback, the things will move forward. So the feedback will also like improves a lot when you're talking about CI/CD. Okay, so yeah, so that is about this CI/CD all about. Okay, so then we'll talk about building. Okay, so we'll talk about build, test, and packaging. Okay, and everything using Jenkins. Okay, so how you build, how you test, how you package your code. Okay, so how you do with the Jenkins, we'll try to talk more about that. Okay, but before that, just take a break of 5 to 10 minutes, then come back. Okay, welcome back, guys. Hope you had a great break. We'll talk how, like, using Jenkins pipelines. Okay, so how we are going to use Jenkins and what is the importance of Jenkins. Okay, so how Jenkins works, and we'll see other stuffs as well. Okay, so here, what is Jenkins actually? So Jenkins is like, this is a very common open source tool which is used to manage the CI/CD pipelines. Okay, so that, like, Jenkins is in the, like, right now in the market. This is a tool which is very commonly used for managing your CI/CD pipelines, and it is always goes with the 4 stages like build, deploy, test, and release. Okay, so these are the major 4 continuous delivery processes. Okay, so CD process, like continuous delivery process, build, deploy, test, and release. Okay, so what is the major benefits of using this Jenkins pipelines? Okay, so Jenkins, like, normally CI/CD is defined in a Jenkins file. We call it as Jenkins file that can be scanned into source code management. So your source code management, it might be any source code management, but Jenkins file is the one which can be scanned into source code management. It also supports complex pipelines with loops, like we have condition loops, right? Conditional loops with forks or parallel execution. So there are a lot of things that Jenkins supports, and these complex pipelines can be easily managed by this Jenkins. And also the major thing is it can resume from the previously saved checkpoints. Okay, so if you have saved any checkpoints or previous versions, you can resume from the previously saved checkpoints, and you have many plugins which you can use through Jenkins. So Jenkins have many plugins, and you can use those all plugins to integrate your application within Jenkins. And also, when you are talking about these Jenkins files, okay, so Jenkins file rather, okay, so when you are talking about this Jenkins file, so this Jenkins file is the one which stores whole process. Okay, so whatever the process we are doing, it stores everything as code. Okay, so nothing but Jenkins file is nothing but it stores the whole process as code, and you can write Jenkins file in Groovy DSL syntax that is called scripted approach. This is the scripted approach, or you can go with the Jenkins file that can be generated by a tool. Okay, so that is declarative approach. Okay, so you can go with the scripted approach or a declarative approach. Okay, so you can write in any format. Okay, and also we'll see the installation. Okay, so we'll go with the installation of the Jenkins. Okay, so we'll do this on the Google Cloud platform. Okay, so how we'll do the installation using Google Cloud platform, we'll see, or else you can go to the DevOps 2021. It is already there. You can go and watch there. Okay, so we'll see how we can install Jenkins. Okay, so now after installation, we'll see how Jenkins works. Okay, so how Jenkins work. Okay, so Jenkins is going to run your jobs on the computer that hosts your Jenkins, whatever or wherever you are hosting your Jenkins. Okay, so from there you will be running some jobs. Okay, so it is going to run the jobs on the host where your Jenkins is installed, and Jenkins files. Okay, so if you are going, we are talking more about the Docker, right? So Docker, implementing the Docker containers on the DevOps is the main agenda of our course. So I'll talk more about Dockers from here. Okay, so Jenkins, when you are talking about Jenkins to run the jobs, okay, so definitely if the Jenkins file needs the Docker agent to run a job, the Docker software must be installed on your host computer, right? So when you are talking about Docker, so if you want to run a Docker software, okay, so definitely you need to have that Docker agent running on your host computer. Okay, so also the Jenkins user must be a member of the Docker group. Okay, so you need to remember that, right? So the Jenkins user, he must be a member of this Docker group, otherwise you cannot run or you cannot build those images from the Docker. Okay, so you should make sure that user has sufficient permissions to run the job, otherwise that job will throw an error or you cannot run that job. Okay, so that is a major thing you need to remember when you are installing your Jenkins and also Docker on your machine. Make sure that Docker also have the Jenkins user included in the Docker group. Okay, so that is a major thing you need to do when you are going down with this course. Okay, so we'll try to understand more on what is this Jenkins file and what is the syntax of this Jenkins files looks like. Okay, so first you need to know, like in the Jenkins file syntax, you will see pipeline. Okay, so this block, okay, so this is a mandatory block in the Jenkins file. Okay, this is the one which defines all stages that need to be processed. Okay, so pipeline block is very important and it's very mandatory. Okay, so you need to use this pipeline block so that this defines all stages. So whatever the stages we are using on the pipeline, okay, so it defines all those stages. Okay, and this is the one which will process those stages. Okay, next comes the node. Okay, so node is nothing but a system that runs a workflow. Okay, so whatever the workflow which is running, so that is done by the node. Okay, so next comes the agent. Okay, so agent is the one which defines which agent should process the CI/CD. Okay, so whatever the CI/CD is getting processed, so this agent should define, or it defines like which agent should process that. Okay, so for example, Docker is a common agent. Okay, so like Docker is one of the agent. Okay, and also it's a common agent and can be specified to run a specific image that runs the command in the Jenkins file. Okay, so this is very important block again. Okay, then comes the stages. Okay, so stages is the one which defines your different levels that should be processed, like your build, test, QA, deploy, monitor. Okay, so all these stages you can define the stages. Then comes the steps. Okay, steps is the one which defines the steps in the individual stage. Okay, so in the individual stage it will define the steps. Okay, so these are all the important blocks. Okay, blocks. Okay, so these are all the important blocks which are which are important to write this Jenkins file. Okay, so these are the basic syntax of the Jenkins file. So pipeline, node, agent, stage, steps. Okay, so you need to remember that. Okay, and also we'll be running our Jenkins on 8080, like I have already shown you that 8080. Okay, so and also you know how to install plugins, right? So first we'll go and install Docker plugin. Okay, so we'll start with the Docker plugin installation and we'll try to create a pipeline using the pipeline script. Okay.